Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 50, I'll be tying a cress bug, also known as a sow bug. These tiny crustaceans can be found in streams such as Penns Creek, Spring Creek, and many others. But I typically tie these flies in sizes 14s, 16s, and 18s, and I fish them just like a nymph. I dead drift them on the bottom, and the trout seem to respond quite well to my dead drift presentation. I highly recommend you adding this fly to your arsenal if you're out in those western PA streams or midwestern. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. We're tying the cress bug. Cress bug is a great little pattern for the limestone streams. It makes up a huge part of the trout's diet in streams like Penns Creek, Spring Creek, and so forth. So place your hook in the vise, making sure that the hook shank is parallel with the tabletop, and begin to cover the entire shank of the hook with your thread. I'm using a short shank Mustad 3906 hook here, and perfect size. I exaggerated the size a little bit bigger so that you guys could see what I'm doing here. But so typically I would stop at the point where the shank and the bend meet. So I'm going to wrap slightly into that bend for this particular pattern. Now, the first step is placing the shell back on for this crustacean. And I like to use wild turkey wing quill. I take a section out of that, approximately equal to 3/4 of the gap. I like this lighter stuff on the tip of the feather as opposed to the little bit darker mottled area. I'm going to go lighter, so I'm going to take a little section out of that. I'm going to measure with my scissors and get approximately 3/4 of a gap. Clip that section off. Notice that there's a curve to this feather. And there's a side that the turkey shows us and an underside. So basically what I'm going to do is, here's the cut end and here's the natural end. I'm going to tie in the natural end with the underside facing up. So I'm going to make a loose loop, capture that, and wrap back to that spot, slightly into the bend. There you go. That's our shell back. I'm going to cover up the rest of this material just to keep everything nice and even. That anything I place on top of that will look pretty even. Now, for the ribbing. The ribbing, I'm going to go with a very fine silver wire. Yeah, attach that the same way as you did for the case, the body case for this crustacean, and that needs to be right up against the wing, the feather, the mottled turkey feather. It's a very simple fly to tie. Pretty much is your covering for your entire fly for crustacean, your wire, and now I'm just going to dub a fur body using my Hare natural fur blend. You know, I've caught fish with this pattern using the natural gray Hare fur blend that I make up, the light gray Hare and olive Hare. All three work pretty darn good. Now, this fly can be tied. I've used it with a bead on the front, a small bead. I've used it weighted. For this demonstration, I'm just going to tie it without weight or a bead. So here we go. Let's get the dubbing prepared. Create a little dubbing loop, noodle, I'm sorry. And just dub that on. I'm dubbing it pretty heavy, but thin. You can dub this blend down to nothing, pretty much. Works really easy. Very easy to work with. And just go right up the shank of the hook. Like so. I'm going to put another application on. You know, just a very fine application. I'm really crushing these fibers down. I'm just going to go back over the top. And then one more real fine application. just to get it back up to the front. A little bit of a process, but it's such a straightforward, easy pattern. And there you go. Form a foundation for your case covering. You're going to flip this right over the top, and you're going to center it right over the entire body. And then you're going to grab your ribbing, which is the fine silver wire, and you're going to carefully place about 6 or 7 of these throughout the whole entire length of the body. Yep, here we go. Now, once you have that secured, clip off the excess wire and clip off the excess casing, tie your knot. So, pretty much the fly is done. Now I'm going to just tease out the fur blend to create the legs on both sides of this nymph, this crustacean. Bring it to life. It's a little bit of a process, but the end result will speak volumes. Make sure you have a good sharp needle. I like using the needle as opposed to brushes and dubbing loops. I just get a more accurate buggy look. As you can see, it's really coming to life here. Yeah, looks good. Now, we're gonna pull out all the guard hairs flat. We're gonna flatten the nymph. Starting to take some good shape here and have a little bit more work to do underneath. I'm gonna take it out of the vise and just flip it over. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. I'll try my best. And just comb it out. Carefully pick it out and comb it out. There's definitely plenty of guard hairs here to create the ideal realistic look. That's for sure. Both sides, guys. I truly hope you can see this. Now, I'm going to put it back in the vise. Pull out any stray ones. It's looking really good. And we're going to carefully coat this with some UV glue. Just a little hint for the first coat. It's going to take probably 2 coats. But the first coat, we'll just let it soak in and give it a blast of UV lamp. And one more coat. Try to keep it all on top of that wild turkey wing quill section. That's it, guys. It's a buggy looking cress bug. I highly recommend this pattern when you're hitting the limestoners. Very effective. Again, you could tie it with a small bead. You could tie it weighted and a bead, or you could tie it just like I did. Bounce them off the bottom and hang on. They work really good. Don't forget, add this one to your arsenal. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of the Fly of the Week. I appreciate all your support, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing you in the next episode. Tight lines, guys.